All right, welcome back to another tutorial. This time I'm going to be teaching you how to make platforms that disappear so that you can make a minigame like the Squid Games Glass Challenge. So even if you don't make something like that, it'll be useful when you apply to other things, like if you want to make an obby or just any other minigame. So to get started, just click on this base plate and we'll open up a clean slate. After that, let's add a part. Let's just add one right there, right in front of the spawn platform. And we're going to just scale it up. Or just, pull on the blue side. We're just going to scale it up a little bit. And yeah, just to however big you want the platform to be. Up to you. And I'm just going to go ahead and move it over. And then I'm going to change the material. So instead of a plastic, I want it to be a glass. And I can change the color up a bit to make it a little brighter. And I will change the reflectance up a little like that. Just play around with that. This is not really essential to that. It's just a personal preference. But go ahead and play around with that. The next part, though, is where we need to add in a script. So we're going to go ahead and add in a script onto the part. And then we're going to say local part equals script.parent because the part is the parent of the script, right? So, and then we're going to say part.touched, and we're going to connect a function. And for this, it takes in one argument, which is the other part. So whenever the part is touched, the object that is touching it, that data gets put into this parameter. So it becomes other part, or you can call it whatever you want. But this argument here is basically the part that is touching our platform. So we're going to check to see what that is. But we know that it should be a character. We're trying to check to see if it's a character. So we're going to say local character equals other part dot parent. And then we need to check if it's a humanoid. So we're going to say local is humanoid. So no, we're not really grabbing a humanoid, but we're checking if it is a humanoid. So we're going to use something called find first child, which is a humanoid. So what this does is it goes under character and it looks at all the children under it and it finds a child that is a humanoid. And if it's a humanoid, this variable becomes true. If not, it's a false. So it returns a Boolean. And if you don't know what Booleans are, go ahead and check out my Lua scripting tutorial, and I'll show you in that tutorial what Booleans are. And once we have that, we need a check. We need to say if is humanoid, then we're gonna make the part disappear, because if you don't have this check, so basically I'm saying here if is humanoid, this is the same thing as saying equals true, but instead of saying equals true, I'm just taking that out just to type less, but it's the same thing as saying if is humanoid equals true. So if I don't put this check, then whatever's touching our platform, it's going to run this function. And we don't want that because it's going to touch this base plate, right? So we don't want that. We want to only run this function when a humanoid or a player is touching it. So if a humanoid is touching the part, we're going to say part dot can collide equals false. And then we're going to say part transparency equals 1. What this does is currently the part, you can touch it, right? You can stand on it. It blocks you if you try to run through it. But if I set it to false, that means I can go through the part. And for the transparency, I set it to 1 to make it fully transparent. That means it's going to basically disappear, right? It's actually still there, but it's going to disappear. So let's try that out first. Let's play this. And if I hop on this, it's going to disappear. Now, it disappeared, but we want to bring it back. So we're going to have to add another line that says, we'll wait about 3 seconds, right? And then we'll say part dot can collide equals true, and part dot transparency equals 0. So we're going to make our platform visible again, and we're also going to make it so that we're able to stand on the platform. So now we play it, and now in 2 seconds, we coded it so that it should come back, right? But it's not coming back. It's been more than 3 seconds. That's because if we look at our part property, anchored needs to be checked. Because if it's not anchored, that means when it disappears, it gets taken out of the game. So we can't bring it back. We can't set this to 0 because it won't be able to find this part. So we just need to check this anchored box. And then if we press play, then now if we hop on our platform, now it's going to come back after 3 seconds. And there we go. The part came back. And if we hop on again, it's going to come back after 3 seconds. And it's back. So that's working. Now to add a little bit more sound to make it more engaging, what we're going to do is we need to add a sound under this part. So we're going to type in sound. And we're going to choose the first one right here. And under sound, you're going to see, if you click on sound and you go under to the properties window, you're going to see a sound ID field. And this is where you want to paste your that link to it. And where you grab that link is over here in the toolbox, or you can find your own audio. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to use a one that's already existing. So I'm going to click here on the search on the toolbox. I'm going to make sure I drop down on audio, and then I'm going to search for glass, and I'm going to enter. And then there's a bunch of these sounds that are under glass, so you can go through and you can check which one sounds good to you. So that one is a glass sound. This one, and I think I like this one just because it's quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click it, and then I'm going to copy the asset ID. So copy, and then over here under the properties window, I'm going to paste it in. Paste and hit enter. Now, if we click on this preview button, the play button, you should be able to hear the glass. So now we have our sound ready. Now we need to activate that sound whenever the part is touched. So if we go back into our script, we're going to say local sound, because we want to reference our sound. And that's going to be under part.sound, right? Because part or sound is under part. Part is the parent of sound. So we're going to say part.sound. And what we're going to do is we're going to say if, well, let me show you what happens when I do just sound and play. This is basically how we play our sound, right? Sound and then colon play activates that play function. So you hear that? It's playing it multiple times, right? Because that object is technically still there. So what we want to do is we want to add a check. So we're going to say if part.can collide. So remember, if I say this, then it's basically the same as equals true. But instead of doing that, I'm just going to leave it at that without saying equals true. If part.can collide is true, then we're going to play the sound. Sound, play. And then after it plays, we're going to basically shatter the glass. So we're going to say can't collide equals false so that our character can fall through it. We're going to say part transparency equals 1. Wait 3 seconds. And then we're going to bring our part back. So let's see how this plays out. Play. And so now you see that it only plays once. The sound only plays once. So that's what we want. Now we basically have our flooring done. So all we need to do is basically just duplicate these floors and we have ourselves a game. So we can duplicate this. If you click here and just hit Control D, you can duplicate it. And I'll drag this out. Maybe I want this to be on this side this time, right? And then I want to make another one. Go in here. I'll have that straight up. And then I'll have another one going opposite. And then let's just do one more going this way. Right? And then before we add in our other platforms, so we know these platforms are disappearing platforms, right? So to distinguish it from our other ones, we should rename these parts so that we know that these are our disappearing parts. So we're going to call this like breaking. Breaking. And breaking. So now we have our breaking platforms. Now we want to add in our non-breaking platforms, right? So the good ones. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this by hitting Control D. And then we're just going to move one over. And we're going to get rid of the sound. And we're going to get rid of the script. And we're going to rename this to good platform or whatever you want it to be. Okay, now all you need to do is you just need to duplicate this and move it to the empty spaces. So hit Control D, move it there. Control D, move it over here. And then Control D. So now we have our platforms, right? So you can make this hard where you can make it as long as you want, or you can just keep it simple like this. This is just to learn the concept. And then we'll have our ending platform where this will basically mean you won. And then you can add like a sign here if you want that says you win or whatever it is you need. So your call. And that looks good. And now we can go ahead and try playing that. And now we have our game. So if I go here, this was the good platform, right? Now if I go here, this was the bad platform. Now to make it more interesting, you can always just you can get rid of the space plate, right? So if I get rid of that, then we have nothing here, right? So if I play and I go here, I go across. Oh no, and I fell. So that's basically how you make a basic Squid Games game. And if you didn't notice, I didn't anchor this part, so that's why it wasn't there. That's why you need an anchor part so that if you don't want it to fall, then it needs to be anchored. I'm going to check that. And from distance, you can now see our ending platform. So this platform works as well. And yeah, that's basically how you do it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe or comment if you have any feedbacks or any other topics you want me to cover. Thank you for watching.